Welcome to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. Quick, actionable tips to master personal finance and real estate investing. In just 5 minutes a day, we'll help you build wealth and achieve financial freedom. Hey, Prime investors, Martin Maxwell here. Welcome back to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. I want you to picture two maps of the country. On the first one, I light up every metro where home prices are falling. On the second, every metro where they're rising. And here's the thing that should stop you. Those two maps barely overlap. They're two different countries. The metros that are falling are the ones you spent 2021 wishing you'd bought into. Austin, Tampa, Naples, Denver, Las Vegas, the darlings. The ones that we're going to appreciate forever. The metros that are rising? Youngstown, Ohio, Peoria, Illinois, Syracuse, Buffalo, Milwaukee. The ones nobody ever put on a vision board. So today, let's read the actual map, because the national housing market is a number that will lie to you, and I'll hand you the two numbers that won't. Let me give you the shape of it. Of the 895 metros we track, 197 are down year over year on home values. That's 22%, better than 1 in 5. And 34 of the 100 biggest metros are in that falling group. This isn't a couple of quirky towns. It's a fifth of the country. Now listen to which ones. Austin is down almost 6%, 5.7 to be exact, on a typical home still north of $427,000. Naples, down 4.5 on a home over $500,000. Denver, Tampa, Orlando, Vegas, all off 2 to 3%, all expensive. Now the other map. Peoria, Illinois, up 7.4%. Typical home, $175,000. Youngstown, Ohio, up 6 at $180,000. Syracuse, Buffalo, Milwaukee, Grand Rapids, all up 4 to 6%. Almost every one of them under $300,000. Sit with that for a second. The markets appreciating fastest right now are the cheap ones. Up more, cost less. That is the exact reverse of what the last cycle drilled into everybody. Why is the map split like this? Two forces. The Sun Belt spent 3 years building. Permits, cranes, apartment towers, and all that supply is landing right as the pandemic move-in wave slows. More homes, cooler demand, softer prices. The Midwest and the Northeast did the opposite. They barely built, so inventory stays tight, and every owner sitting on a 3% mortgage has zero reason to sell, which keeps supply even tighter. Tight supply, steady demand, prices grind up. And here's why the headline hides all of it. When someone says national home prices cooled, they're averaging a Sunbelt that's correcting against a Midwest that's climbing, and the average comes out to a shrug. But nobody buys the average. You buy one house in one metro, and that metro sits on one side of the map or the other. Now here's the part I want you to hear twice. Everything so far was about price. There's a second number, and it's the one that actually pays you. Rent. Of the roughly 600 metros where we track rents, only 6% are falling year over year. 6% against 22% falling on price. Read that gap slowly. Prices are dropping in a lot of places where rents are not. Let me make it concrete. Picture a Sunbelt rental that a year ago was worth $500,000 and rented for $2,800 a month. This year, the price slid to $470. Call it down 6%, right in line with what we're seeing. But the rent? Still $2,800. Nobody told the tenant there was a correction. Run the quick math. Your cap rate, that's your net operating income divided by price, the yield the property throws off before the mortgage. And if we use the 50% rule to ballpark expenses, that's about $16,800 a year in operating income. On $500,000, that's a cap rate around 3.4. On $470, same rent, it's about 3.6. The price fell and your yield went up. Same paycheck, cheaper to buy. So read that headline one more time. Prices falling, market weak. For a buy and hold investor, that isn't weakness. That's the same rent on sale. So the discipline is two numbers, never one. What is price doing in this metro, and what is rent doing? Price down and rent flat is the quiet green light. You just did better on entry. Price up and rent flat, which is most of the cheap Midwest right now, is appreciation you're paying a little more for. And price up while rent falls, that's the one to fear, because you're paying more for less income. Two maps, two numbers. That's the entire read. and it fits on an index card. Let me make this something you can actually do this week. First, the rate backdrop, because it sets your floor. The 30-year mortgage hit 6.69% in early August, the top of its 12-month range. And here's the quiet tell most people miss. The gap between the 10-year Treasury and the rate you actually get has been parked near 2 full points all year. As wide as 2.4, as narrow as 1.8, and it's sitting right about 2 right now. That gap is the number standing between you and a cheaper mortgage, not the Fed. So don't sit on your hands waiting for a cut to rescue a market. Underwrite the rate you have. With the 10-year where it is, the rate floor screen we've leaned on before, cap rate at least 5 points over the 10-year to call a deal green, puts your green line at about 9.68% today. Write that number down because it's the bar every metro on your shortlist has to clear. Now your challenge. Pick one metro you've been watching. Find 2 things from any public index, what home values did there over the last year and what rents did. If price is down and rent held, that metro just got more interesting, not less. Take one real listing there, run it through the calculator at today's rate, and see whether the cap clears your floor. If it does, that metro earns a spot on your shortlist. And your very next move is finding one good agent on the ground who knows those blocks. And if you already own in the Sunbelt, hear me clearly. This is not a sell signal. Don't panic list into a soft market. It's a know your real cap rate today signal. Pull your own numbers before you judge the next deal against them. One last thing. Because the cheap map is seductive, and I won't lie to you, cheap is not the same as good. A metro can be cheap because its jobs and its people are quietly leaving. And no cap rate saves you from a shrinking town. We'll walk straight into that trap later this week. For now, read both numbers, and then read the town underneath them. I'm Martin Maxwell. This has been the 5 Minute Prime Podcast. I'll see you next episode.